مع أخطر قضايا القرن
Have we
وأشدها
faced our responsibilities
والسؤال
as
الأهم
leaders of our
الذي
government, heads
يتعين
of state?
أن
Have we
نواجهه
faced the
لأنفسنا؟
challenges of climate change
هل ما
to protect the
نطمح
most
إلى
vulnerable?
تحقيقه
These are key
من
thorny
أهداف
questions,
يقع
fundamental
في نطاق
questions.
الممكن؟
For example,
بلا شك
do we
إنه
cherish
ليس
true
مستحيل،
ambitions to
ولكن
achieve
إذا
these
توافرت
goals?
الإرادة
Can
الحقيقية
we
والنية
achieve
الصادقة
our goals?
لتعزيز العمل
Can they
المناخي
be achieved
المشترك
with the goodwill and
وترجمة ما
intentions
يصدر عن
that we have
اجتماعاتنا
to
من
achieve those
نتائج
goals
إلى واقع
that
ملموس؟
we face due to climate change by
أثق في أنكم
pooling our
هنا اليوم
resources?
من
Can
أجل
we
الإجابة
all
عن
work
تلك
together?
الأسئلة والرد على
Do we
شواغل
have any
الملايين
other choice
حول العالم
but
الذين
to bring
يعانون
concrete
الآن
action
أكثر
together?
من أي وقت
And so
مضى
we must
من
respond to the
كوارث مناخية
expectations of people across
تتصارع
the world,
وتيرتها
people who are suffering more
وتزداد
than ever
حدتها
the
على
consequences
نحو
of
غير مسبوق
natural
يوما
catastrophes.
بعد يوم
The
في
intensity
شتى
and
أنحاء
frequency
كوكبنا، فما
have
تلبث
never
أن
been
تنتهي
so
كارثة
severe.
في
And this
مكان
is
ما
true in all
حتى
four
تبدأ
corners
أخرى
of the
في
world.
مكان
We have
آخر
seen one
مخلفة
catastrophe
وراءها
after
آلاف
another.
الضحايا والمصابين والنازحين
As soon as
ومسببة
we
خسائر
tackle
مادية
one catastrophe, another arises.
وكأن العالم
Wave after wave
قد أصبح
of
بالصحة
suffering and
لعرض مستمر
losses,
للمعاناة
suffering
الإنسانية
by
في
billions
أقصى
of
صورها.
people. The
هنا
planet
علينا
has become
أن
a
نتوقف
world of suffering
لنطرح
today.
نحن على أنفسنا
Therefore,
تساؤلا ملحا أما
we
آن
must step back
لهذه المعاناة أن
and
تنتهي
reiterate the question, is it not high time today to put an end to all this
إن ما يحتاجه
suffering?
عالمنا اليوم
Your Excellency,
لتجاوز أزمة المناخ الراهنة
ladies and gentlemen,
وللوصول
what does the
إلى ما
world need
توافقنا عليه
today to overcome
كأهداف
today's
في اتفاق
climate
باريس
change crisis
يتجاوز مجرد الشعارات
and to
والكلمات
implement the content of our
إن ما تنتظره
agreements
منا
and the
شعوبنا
Paris
اليوم
Agreement?
هو التنفيذ السريع
It's something that goes
والفعال
beyond mere
والعادل.
words. The
تتوقع
people of the
منا
world
شعوبنا
are looking to us
خطوات
today
حقيقية
and they want a
وملموسة
rapid,
نحو
concrete
خفض الانبعاثات
implementation
وبناء القدرة
of
على
genuine,
التكيف
physical,
مع
practical,
تبعات تغير
concrete
المناخ
actions to reduce
وتوفير التمويل
emissions,
اللازم
to
للدول النامية
reinforce the
التي
ability
تعاني
to adapt,
أكثر
to
من غيرها
guarantee
من أزمة المناخ
the funding
الراهنة.
necessary for developing countries
من هذا المنطلق
who today
لقد
are
حرصنا
suffering more than others the
على
consequences of
تسمية هذه
these
القمة
crises.
قمة التنفيذ
It is
وهو
thus
الهدف الذي
that
يجب
we
أن تتمحور حوله كافة جهودنا ومساعينا
compiled the
وعلى الرغم من كافة التحديات
catchphrase of this
التي
conference
واجهناها
together for
خلال
implementation,
الفترة
the
الماضية.
Climate Implementation Summit,
ولا نزال
because
نواجهها
despite all the challenges
فضلا
that we have
عن جميع
faced
العوامل
in
التي أعلم
past
أنها تلقي
cycles
بظلال
and despite the
من
challenges
الشك
that we
وعدم
continue to
اليقين
face,
إزاء قدرتنا
despite
على
the numerous
الوصول إلى
difficulties
أهداف اتفاق
that
باريس
challenge and undermine our
وحماية
very
كوكبنا
ability
من
to
مستقبل
implement the
يصل فيه
Paris
ارتفاع درجات
Accords,
الحرارة
to protect
إلى
our planet,
درجتين ونصف بل
to
3 درجات
ensure
مئوية
that global
على
temperatures
الرغم
do
من
not
ذلك كله
exceed
فإن هناك شواهد
2.5
وعوامل
degrees
أخرى
or even 3.5 degrees,
تدعونا
despite
إلى التمسك
all
بالأمل
of the rays
في قدرة البشرية على صنع مستقبل
and
أفضل
challenges and
لأجيال قادمة.
difficulties, there are some
لا يجب
rays of
عليها
hope.
أن
People do
تتحمل نتائج
cherish
أخطاء لم
their
ترتكب
hopes and place their hopes in
وفي شعوب
humanity,
باتت أكثر وعيا
because
ودراية
humanity
بحجم
surely
التحدي
can be just to those
مواجهته
who are not responsible for the consequences that are producing so much suffering.
أو التراجع.
Surely humanity
والأمل أيضاً
can find
في حكومات
the elements of
تعلم
new
ما
solutions.
يتعين عليها
Surely now there is
القيام
no more time to
وتسعى
hesitate,
بالفعل وفقا
because
لقدراتها
every government knows
وإمكانياتها
what it must do.
وفي قطاع أعمال عالمي
Every
ومجتمع
government must
مدني
work
أصبح
to the
يمتلك
extent of
من
its
الأدوات
ability to provide those solutions. And all parts of our society, civil society indeed, contribute.
ولقد وضعنا في
They
مصر
play key
نصب
roles.
أعيننا أهدافاً
In
طموحة.
Egypt,
عبرنا عنها
we have
في استراتيجية
established
مصر الوطنية
ambitious
لمواجهة تغير
goals
المناخ.
that were set forth in the
ونعمل
Egyptian
بدأب على
national
الإسراع من
strategy
وتيرة التحول
for climate
الأخضر
change,
من خلال التوسع في
and we are
الاعتماد
determined to
على
accelerate
الطاقة
our
المتجددة
transition
والنقل
to
النظيف.
green adaptation,
واتخذنا خطوات ملموسة نحو
towards
إحداث تحول
the
هيكلي
use of
في القوانين
green
والتشريعات
resources
وآليات
and
العمل
energy
الحكومية
through
بما
legislation
يساهم في
and
تعزيز
new
الاستثمارات
laws, as
الخضراء
well as new governmental
ولعل
mechanisms
البرنامج
to
الوطني
ensure a full
للاستثمار
green
في مشروعات
transformation,
المياه والطاقة
to contribute to
والغذاء
creating an environment that is more favorable for
الذي أطلقته
environment-friendly
مصر مؤخراً
investment in
هو
food,
تجسيد
in
لهذا
energy, in
الطموح وهذا
agriculture.
التوجه.
Egypt is
وأن ما
now
تشهده مصر اليوم
determined
من تحول
to
نحو
focus
الاقتصاد
on and
الأخضر
increase investment in these key
الانبعاثات
green areas.
في كافة
Egypt
المجالات
wants to see a transition to a
عملية
green
لما نادينا
economy
وننادي
with
به.
low carbon
من
emissions.
ضرورة التنفيذ الفعلي على الأرض
And that is
وخير
what we
دليل
call for,
على أن الأمل في التغلب
to
على
move
تحدي
to
تغير
concrete
المناخ
action
لا
that
يزال
has
قائما
clear,
إذا ما
tangible
توافرت
impact
الإرادة
in the field.
والعزيمة
Otherwise, we cannot meet these
ولعلكم
challenges.
تتفقون معي أنه إذا
The
كنا نرغب
key
حقيقة
elements for our
في السير معا
success
نحو
already
مستقبل
exist,
نضمن فيه أن
but we
تبقى
need
درجات
to be
الحرارة
determined.
عند
We
مستوى
need
ما دون
a strong
درجتين
will
مئوية
to go
وإذا كنا بالفعل
further
عازمين
towards a future
على صنع مستقبل
where
للجميع
we do
وبالجميع.
not have a temperature
فإن
increase of
واجبي
more than
الحتمي
1.5 degrees.
علي
Now,
أن
that is the
أصارحكم
future
ببعض
that
الشواهد
meets the hopes and aspirations of
التي
all
لابد
people.
ألا نغفلها أو نتناسى وجودها
I should
وهي أن
also say
قدرتنا
that we
كمجتمع
must be
دولي
frank
على
and
المضي
honest.
قدما بشكل موحد
We must be aware
ومتسق
of
نحو
our
تنفيذ
capabilities
التزاماتنا
and what we
وتعهداتنا
can do.
وفقا
The international
لاتفاق
community
باريس
is able
إنما هي رهن
to
بمقدار
achieve
الثقة
progress,
التي نتمكن من
to
بنائها
achieve
فيما
the
بيننا
goals
ومن
laid
ثم
out in
فإنه من
Paris.
الضروري
We
أن
must be
تشعر كافة
inspired by
الأطراف
the trust
من
placed
الدول
in
النامية
us when we came together.
خاصة في
It is
قارتنا
essential
الإفريقية
that all
أن
parties, all
أولوياتها
countries, but
يتم
above
التجاوب
all, the
معها
developing countries on our
وأخذها في الاعتبار
African continent,
وأنها تتحمل
their
مسؤولياتها
priority
بقدر إمكانياتها
must be taken into account.
بقدر ما تحصل عليه من دعم وتمويل مناسبين
All countries
وفقاً
must
لمبدأ
assume their
المسؤولية
responsibilities to the
متباينة
degree
الأعباء
that they
بما يتيح
can.
لها درجة من
We
الرضا
must support the
والارتياح
principle of shared,
إزاء موقعها في هذا
joint but
الجهد
shared
العالمي
responsibility.
لمواجهة تغير المناخ وإن ذلك لن
This
يتأتى سوى من خلال
will
تهيئة
inspire
مناخ
trust in
من
our
الثقة
ability to
المتبادلة
achieve our
يكون
goals.
محفزاً
Now that
وداعماً
trust, that mutual
من
and
العمل
multilateral
البناء.
trust
ولن يتأتى
will
أيضا
be the
بدون
best
قيام الدول
guarantee
المتقدمة
of our
بخطوات
success,
جادة
the
إضافية
best guarantee of
للوفاء
progress and
بالتعهدات
of
التي
achieving
أخذتها
our goals.
على نفسها في تمويل
And
المناخ
developed countries
ودعم
must
جهود
do more
التكيف
to
والتعامل مع
ensure
قضية
that
الخسائر
commitments
والأضرار
already
الناجمة
assumed are met
عن تغير
to
المناخ
face climate
في
change
الدول
and to
النامية
support
والأقل
our
نمواً
efforts of
على نحو
adaptation
يضمن صياغة
and to face the
مسارات عملية
consequences of climate change
لتحقيق الانتقال
in the
المتوازن
least developed countries
نحو
and in
الاقتصاد
developing
الأخضر.
countries. We must
ويراعي ظروف الأوضاع
ensure
الخاصة
that
لهذه
practical
الدول.
roadmaps are implemented towards a
أصحاب
green
الجلالة
transition. We need to create an
والفخامة
environment that is
والسمو.
favorable
إن
for
وجودكم
developing
هنا
countries and
اليوم
LDCs in
في حد
order
ذاته
that they can
رسالة
continue
تأكيد
those key
على
efforts.
الاهتمام
Ladies and
الذي
gentlemen,
يكمنه
your
لعمل
presence
المناخ
today
العالمي.
here is the best
والذي
possible
أرجو
proof
أن ينعكس
of the importance that you
اتساق
place
مواقف
on
دولكم
climate change.
مع عنوان
I
قمتنا
hope
وهو
that this
التنفيذ
will also
عنوان
translate
قمتنا وهو
into
التنفيذ
coherence between your
وأتوجه إليكم
positions
اليوم مناشدا
and that we will all come together in agreement around
الذي
implementation.
يتوقع من
And
الكثير
today,
رسائل
I
واضحة
invite you
تتضمن
to send
خطوات
a
محددة
message to the
لتنفيذ
world, a
الالتزامات
clear
والتعهدات
message
مقترحا عليكم الإعلان
that
عن
contains
المزيد
clear, concrete
من المساهمات المحددة
measures and
وطنياً
actions for
ورفع طموح
implementation
استراتيجياتكم
I would ask you to take more measures, to do more action, to clarify how you will reduce emissions and launch new, ambitious initiatives which will encourage all stakeholders to release adequate funding and to help and facilitate the implementation of all commitments assumed previously. In Egypt, over the coming days, we will be launching new initiatives and measures. The instructions that you will hand down to your negotiators, I hope, will encourage them to demonstrate flexibility in their work. But more than this, for them to remain mindful of the importance of the results that we all want to see at the end of this conference. I'm talking to you of a realistic spirit, closely linked to the clear ideas of what we can do, and we can do great things. We can be ambitious yet realistic. We can, together, implement the commitments and obligations that we have assumed. And so, from this rostrum, I urge you to become the model that the world hopes for. This will reaffirm our genuine, practical ability to face the challenge of climate change. Climate change will never stop without our intervention. Your Majesty, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our time here is limited, and we must use every second that we have before the debate is closed. But we have enough time to ensure implementation. There is no time to slip back. There is no space for hesitation. For the sake of future generations, here and now, we are facing a unique historical moment, a last chance to meet our responsibilities. Implementation, implementation, implementation. I wish you every success during your work. May Allah be with you.
اسمحوا لي أنا خلصت كلمتي، والحقيقة اللي شجعني إن أنا أتكلم في موضوع آخر هو إن أنا من قادة العالم لهذا المؤتمر أكبر حجم، معذرة يعني، من قادة الدول، ملوك ورؤساء موجودين الآن معنا.
I note that we have prime ministers, princes, great leaders and heads of state who have come together to discuss critically important issues. But allow me also to talk about another question. Of course, we must act. We are urged to act, and much is expected from us, because crisis shakes the entire world. This is another crisis that I want to talk about, the crisis between Russia and Ukraine. And I would like to urge you, this is a sincere appeal for this war to end. This war must end. Please allow me to say the following. My country is not one of the strongest economically. We suffered greatly from the COVID-19 pandemic over 2 years. And today we are suffering once again due to this other crisis, this unnecessary war. I imagine, of course, that the entire world is suffering because of the war between Russia and Ukraine. And so I would like to appeal to you. Please allow me to say this in all respect. This war must stop. This war and the suffering it has caused must finish. This is a sincere appeal. It is not that I want to play a particular role in this affair. But of course, I, like many others, am ready to act to ensure the end of this war, and I am sure that many of you share my opinion. I believe that all of us believe that we must put an end to this war, and I hope that the spirit of Allah and peace will be with you. Thank you.
شكرا سيادة الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي رئيس جمهورية مصر العربية. والآن رحبوا معي بالسيد أنطونيو غوتيريش عام للأمم المتحدة.
President El-Sisi, thank you very much for this wonderful hospitality and for this spectacular organization. COP27, President Shukri, Your Majesties, Excellencies, dear friends. In just days, our planet's population will cross a new threshold. The 8 billionth member of our human family will be born. This milestone puts into perspective what this climate conference is all about. How will we answer when baby 8 billion is old enough to ask, what did you do for our world and for our planet when you had the chance? Excellencies, this UN climate conference is a reminder that the answer is in our hands. And the clock is ticking. We are in the fight of our lives, and we are losing. Greenhouse gas emissions keep growing. Global temperatures keep rising. And our planet is fast approaching tipping points that will make climate chaos irreversible. We are on a highway to climate hell, with our foot still on the accelerator. The war in Ukraine, other conflicts have caused so much bloodshed and violence and had dramatic impacts all over the world. But we cannot accept that our attention is not focused on climate change. We must, of course, work together to support peace efforts and end the tremendous suffering. But climate change is on a different timeline and a different scale. It is a defining issue of our age. It is the central challenge of our century. It is unacceptable, outrageous, and self-defeating to put it on the back burner. Indeed, many of today's conflicts are linked with growing climate chaos. And the war in Ukraine has exposed the profound risks of our fossil fuel addiction. And today's crisis cannot be an excuse for backsliding or greenwashing. If anything, they are a reason for greater urgency, stronger action, and effective accountability. Excellencies, human activity is the cause of the climate problem, so human action must be the solution. Action to re-establish ambition and action to rebuild trust, especially between North and South. The science is clear. Any hope of limiting temperature rise to 1.5 degrees means achieving global net zero emissions by 2050. But that 1.5 degree goal is on life support and the machines are rattling. We are getting dangerously close to the point of no return. And to avoid that dire fate, all G20 countries must accelerate their transition now in this decade. Developed countries must take the lead, but emerging economies are also critical to bending the global emissions curve. Last year in Glasgow, I called for coalitions of support for high-emitting emerging economies to accelerate the transition from coal towards renewables. We are making progress with the Just Energy Transition partnerships, but much more is needed. And that is why at the beginning of COP27, I'm calling for a historic pact between developed and developing economies, and especially developed and emerging economies, a climate solidarity pact. A pact in which all countries make an extra effort to reduce emissions this decade in line with 1.5 degree goal. A pact in which wealthier countries and international financial institutions provide financial and technical assistance to help emerging economies speed their own renewable energy transition. A pact to independence on fossil fuels and the building of new coal plants, phasing out coal in OECD countries by 2030 and everywhere else by 2040. A pact that will provide universal, affordable, sustainable energy for all. A pact in which developed and emerging economies unite around a common strategy and combine capacities and resources for the benefit of humankind. The two largest economies, the United States and China, have a particular responsibility to join efforts to make this pact a reality. And this is our only hope of meeting our climate goals. Humanity has a choice: cooperate or perish. It is either a climate solidarity pact or a collective suicide pact. Excellences, nous avons aussi désespérément besoin du progrès en matière d'adaptation afin de renforcer la résilience face aux perturbations climatiques d'aujourd'hui et à venir. Aujourd'hui, environ 3,5 milliards de personnes vivent dans des pays hautement vulnérables aux impacts. À Glasgow, les pays développés ont promis de doubler leur soutien à l'adaptation pour atteindre 40 milliards de dollars par an d'ici 2025. Nous avons besoin d'une feuille de route sur la manière dont cela sera mis en œuvre. Et nous devons reconnaître qu'il ne s'agit que d'une première étape. Les besoins en matière d'adaptation devraient dépasser les 300 milliards de dollars par an d'ici 2030. La moitié du financement climatique devrait être consacrée à l'adaptation. Et les institutions financières internationales et les banques multilatérales de développement doivent changer leur modèle économique et faire leur part pour augmenter le financement des mesures d'adaptation et servir de levier pour mobiliser davantage de financement privé au service de l'action climatique. Les pays et les communautés doivent également pouvoir accéder à ces financements qui doivent être dirigés vers des priorités identifiées grâce à des initiatives comme l'Adaptation Pipeline Acceleration. At the same time, we must acknowledge a harsh truth. There is no adapting to a growing number of catastrophic events causing enormous suffering around the world. The deadly impacts of climate change are here and now. Loss and damage can no longer be swept under the rug. It is a moral imperative. It is international solidarity and climate justice. Those who contributed least to the climate crisis are reaping the whirlwind sown by others. And many are blindsided by impacts for which they had no warning or means of preparation. This is why I'm calling for a universal early warning system coverage within 5 years, And it is why I am asking that all governments tax the windfall profits of fossil fuel companies. Let's redirect that money to people struggling with rising food and energy prices and to countries suffering loss and damage caused by the climate crisis. On addressing loss and damage, this COP must agree on a clear, time-bound roadmap reflective of the scale and urgency of the challenge. And this roadmap must deliver effective institutional arrangements for financing. Getting concrete results on loss and damage is a litmus test of the commitment of the governments to the success of COP27. Excellencies and friends, the good news is that we know what to do, and we have the financial and technological tools to get the job done. It is time for nations to come together for implementation. It is time for international solidarity across the board. Solidarity that respects all human rights and guarantees a safe space for environmental defenders and all actors in society to contribute to our climate response. Let's not forget that the war on nature is itself a massive violation of human rights. We need all hands on deck for faster, bolder climate action. A window of opportunity remains open, but only a narrow shaft of light remains. The global climate fight will be won or lost in this crucial decade on our watch. And one thing is certain, those that give up are sure to lose. So let's fight together and let's win for the 8 billion members of our human family and for generations to come. Thank you.
Together for implementation.
شكراً للسيد أنطونيو غوتيريش الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة. ضيوف مصر الكرام، رحبوا معي بسمو الشيخ محمد بن زايد آل نهيان رئيس دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة.